members of City Council, thank you very much for your time and attention to this critical matter in the life of our city. I think we all agree that these are extraordinary times that require extraordinary measures. I know that we all know the fact that we're in the midst of a public health crisis, one that quite frankly is likely to be with us through the end of the year. COVID-19 has impacted every one of us, but it poses particular concerns for the most vulnerable, including people who are experiencing homelessness. Now, our health officials have monitored health and safety conditions, and the situation has deteriorated to a point that we must work and move to reduce the risk now. We have always focused on harm reduction strategies for all of our residents, and that is exactly what we will do in response to protecting those experiencing homelessness in our city. Since the COVID-19 pandemic began in March, Denver has taken significant steps to serve and support people experiencing homelessness. We've spent $24 million in emergency funds that have helped cover the cost to stand up 2 24-hour shelters, secure more than 700 hotel rooms, deliver more hand washing stations and publicly accessible toilets, and provide testing and screening for our neighbors experiencing homelessness. But we all acknowledge that we must and we need to do more. And as we've stood up these options and resources, we've also seen more vulnerable people coming to Denver that has led to increased number of unsanctioned campsites throughout the city of Denver. The number of encampments and the public health and safety risks to people living in these encampments and to the neighborhoods has reached a tipping point. We have closely followed CDC guidance during the COVID pandemic and have held back as encampments have grown and been set up around downtown and in neighborhoods. DDPHE has been closely monitoring the health and safety conditions at these encampments. They have seen disease outbreaks, and the situation again has deteriorated to a point that we must address the danger and reduce risk. That's why I'm supporting 2 proposals to provide even more and better services. First, we're going to partner with Colorado Village Collaborative, and you may recognize the name of this organization. This is the organization that has led the setup of Tiny Home Village experiment in Denver. It's a very pragmatic group of individuals, a solid collaborative partner to the city of Denver, and they presented a proposal to establish safe outdoor space, temporary managed campsite in Denver. We've been having conversations for months now and how this could work with Colorado Village Collaborative and our public health officials from DDPHE. I've also had conversations with several mayors across the country who have taken the step to assess how it could work in the context of this pandemic. Some cities that, like Denver, who thought they would not ever set up a sanctioned campsite, have had to do so in response to the pandemic and has become a best practice across the country. I want to be clear. These are temporary. We still believe that getting people indoors and connected to services is the best way to ensure long-term stability for those experiencing homelessness in our city. These managed sites will allow people who are currently living in outdoor encampments in neighborhoods to relocate to safer, more suitable locations where services will be provided. This is an emergency step that is necessary because of the ongoing COVID pandemic. Now, the number of safe outdoor spaces and their locations have yet to be confirmed going forward, but we are working daily to get that set up. We do believe that it's important that we have strong outreach within the neighborhoods in which we may establish these. And so we are going to take the process appropriately to inform people where these may come or may be situated at the appropriate time. One of the goals of this approach is to safely close neighborhood encampments, though. I want to be clear that our goal is to create the opportunity to give people greater stability in a location where we can give them access to services. In the meantime, we're going to do several things. We're going to focus on guiding people living in our neighborhood encampments scattered throughout downtown to motel rooms, shelters, and these safe outdoor spaces once they're set up. 2, outreach, healthcare, and mental health workers will intensify and increase their visits to the encampments. Thirdly, the city will increase efforts to clean encampments with more frequent trash pickup and use needle collection. And again, ultimately, safely close these neighborhood encampments. Second, but equally important, I wanted to share with you that I plan to endorse the proposed sales tax initiative designed to raise $40 million a year dedicated to increasing housing services and shelter for people experiencing homelessness. This effort is being led by Councilwoman Robin Kanish, and again, thank you for your leadership, and the Coalition of Service Providers, and is planned for the November ballot. Supporting sanctioned campsites during the pandemic and endorsing proposed tax increase are not positions I take lightly. You all have known my position on these issues for quite some time, and these are issues that we have thought about, have debated for years, but as a community, overwhelmingly, we agreed last year during the debate over Initiative 300 that we can do better. And as we have seen the situation deteriorate, particularly with COVID-19, unequivocally, I believe we must do better. Supporting these proposals is a step in the right direction at this time. This is just one element of what will be increasing efforts to further support the population and to help them achieve greater stability. Now, I've come to this last step with some reluctance because I firmly believe the policy of the city should be to good people in housing and not in tents. And we are going to do our very best to replace these tents with rooms. But this virus has placed its own reality on our plans, and it must be met with different strategies. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Britta Fisher. She is our Director of the Office of Housing and Stability, and she will talk about our ongoing efforts around this issue. Britta?
Thank you, sir. When we look at Denver, we want to see a healthy, housed, and connected Denver. That is the vision of our department.